Hello, everyone. I'm Jefferson Clark with the Localization Institute. I'm here with Mimi Hills, who is the instructor for one of our best classes, the Localization Teams Master Class. Mimi has had a pretty storied career in localization. She's worked through Sun Microsystems and VMware, and now she's the principal for Hillstra. Mimi, how are you doing today?
Great. How about you, Jefferson?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Thanks so much for taking the time to answer some questions about your class, localization teams. Um, my first question is really just a broad one. So in It seems like I've had the pleasure of sitting in a few of your classes, and it always amazes me how complicated global managing global teams can be. Um, and I was wondering if you would be willing to kind of just outline some of those complicating factors.
Sure. Well, certainly in any industry, management is complicated because we're dealing with people and people are complicated, especially when you put them together into teams. So we also have all the conditions right now that became prevalent during the pandemic. So things like dispersed teams are even greater issues than they were before. And we have the mental health issues that came out for people out of the pandemic. And as managers, we need to know how to handle those. Plus, just in the localization industry, we have so many specific um, issues that we have to handle that are complications, like the cultural issues, the regulatory issues, understanding both the products, but also what's going on in the cultures and with the languages that we are translating to. So on top of that, the tools that we use are rapidly changing right now. So change management is really, really critical for localization teams. We need to help our teams understand what's happening and cope with the changes and maybe develop some skills in the new in these areas.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. So your class, I would presume, addresses some of these issues. How do you address some of these problems in your class? Uh,
Well, we can go through and talk about the problems themselves because they're common issues, but really you have to understand how they fit in with the priorities in your company. So managers and leaders at all levels need to understand what's going on within their company and then interpret what it means. And not only make decisions with those interpretations, but help your teams understand what's going on at the company level and how that applies to the decisions that that team members need to make as well. So that's even more important than just being the manager that makes all the decisions, is helping people understand what context they're working in there. So for for example, you might have a rec and you have one hire that you can make, and you have to think about what's going on with the company and how fast things are changing um, before you can decide where you're going to use that rec. So are you going to need it right away? Or is this something that you can project a year out? What are the kinds of things that this person might want to do? So you have to decide, are we looking for someone who can learn and grow with the company and change over time? Or if the team is really drowning, do you need the most advanced person with a particular skill set? And that's specifically what you're going to go for. So those are the kinds of things that we have to consider um, as in our sets of issues that we deal with.
wow, that's like there's lots of variables that go on there, for sure. The other thing I think I've heard you say before is that people are the greatest resource, and I think, like with all the recent kind of advancements with ChatGPT, AI technology, I mean, I'm wondering if if people still feel that they're still that great of a resource, or if you've seen a difference in terms of just managing your own teams and whatnot.
Yeah, AI is definitely changing what's going on in companies and therefore what's happening in teams. A lot of teams have a lot of fear about AI right now,
Sure.
and it doesn't have to be that way. Fortunately, a lot of us have been using machine translation for a while. have been trying out some of the new quality tools that are available to us. And we are experienced, and our teams know that these things have been helpful to them. They've really helped us out. But we don't know yet how this next generation of AI is changing us and these tools. So in the absence of that crystal ball that we would all like to have to know where exactly it's going, I actually do think that one of the most important things we can do is build a resilient team that is really excited to be learning about what's going on, and really investing in AI. People can invest in data management, they can invest in quality, they can all be learning while they're doing, and getting comfortable with ambiguity, because that's something we're going to have to live with until we figure out which direction we're going. So as managers, as team leaders, what we really need to do is help our people see these things as opportunities as opposed to punishments, because truly we're lucky to be living in these exciting times.
Wow. That's a that's a nice optimistic viewpoint that you have there. Getting comfortable with ambiguity is always challenging. Um, Also, I wanted to ask you a quick question about you. So you have 4 sessions that are the sort of the heart of the curriculum of of the Localization Teams Master Class. And then you have added this 5th session that I think is really interesting. I've also had the pleasure of sitting in on some of those classes. And I wanted to just ask you what made you want to add that 5th session, that optional session.
Sure. Well, I do offer a whole lot of material to the class. They are things that I have learned, that I have used as a manager, as a lead, as a leader,
Hmm.
and things that I've learned from my own reading in classes and from my peers as well, and my mentors. And I want people to have time to take these learnings and put them into play. Some of them will be new to them. Some of them they'll already have heard about and they'll understand and they'll be practicing them already. But but a lot of it will be new, and I want people to be able to take some time, try them out, maybe do some of the readings, and then come back and tell me, but also tell the class what they've learned, what they've tried out, what was useful for them. I can keep making it a better class, but also the team can be learning from each other, and I really want to know what is useful to them. So
Right.
that's what that 5th class is all about, pulling it all together and having a chance for another round of questions.
Yeah, I've seen in your class at the very end, I've seen people like students be able to bring in basically workshop a problem that they encountered directly after getting all this amazing source material from you. They apply the knowledge that they've gotten, and then they can come back with you with their results, and it's a pretty fascinating process.
It's pretty
Um,
exciting. I
yeah,
love
it's
to see
pretty
that.
exciting. Um, I've also I was wondering also, like, I know that do you ever use your own source material, since I know that you've also co-authored along with, I think, 11 other localization experts, a book. Is that true?
I do. And some of that is just incorporated into the material. So we do deal a lot with strategy, and the strategic playbook, localization playbook, is really an important part of my thinking in that area. And applying that to teams is something that I do constantly in the class.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's amazing that all of you collaborated on that book and made that available basically for free.
It's
So
great.
thanks a lot, Mimi. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me today. I look forward again to the next iteration of your class. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jefferson.